Good morning, everyone. So I've made a small change to my presentation. Maybe I need to power on. Where it works now. Yeah, great. I've just changed from the best DevOps team structure to best team structure. The reason being, Agile and DevOps are basically ways of working. So if you get the right mindset, the right people, the right skill set, Agile, DevOps, Waterfall doesn't really matter. They got the right mindset, they can adapt to any change. So I just need the best team structure. And also, it is not really the best for everybody. It won't suit anyone. It is just the best that I've worked with. I'm just proposing a model, that's it. And so quick introduction about myself. I'm working as software development manager in AstraZeneca. Over 16 years of experience in IT, mostly 11 years as a software engineer, and then I'm leading engineering teams. I worked mostly in Australia, worked in different industries, banking, insurance, and everywhere. But I feel that Agile and DevOps are mostly, the intention is to bring business value. I feel that it's more critical to health industry than banking or insurance because we deliver software better and faster. It saves millions of lives around the planet. So that is a great value in adopting Agile and DevOps in the health industry. But there are a lot of restrictions in terms of regulatory boards and stuff, but we can do it. So the experience that I'm going to share is mostly from my Australian experience, but however, in AstraZeneca, we have done a lot of stuff and we're getting better and better. One of the things in this also about the people, it's all about getting the mindset to continuously learn, not just getting trained by the company, adapt to new changes. So we set up this meetup in India, in Chennai. So I founded this Chennai DevOps meetup. It is the second most successful meetup in Chennai. We've been running from 2016, almost like 18, 19 meetups. We run every month. We bring all the guys, not just pharma industry, anybody in Chennai working in the DevOps development and operations together. We share best practices, learn from each other, and we socialize. That's like what we do here. And also, I'm also lead the Agile and Agile Coffee Talks in Chennai as well. Right, the quick synopsis. I always start with why. That's what Simon Sinek taught me. Always start with the why, then go how and what and stuff. So why Agile and why Agile? How do you measure the success of implementing new change, the DevOps stuff? What are the drivers and what are the models that I've worked with? So it's pretty easy. It's about giving value to business and iteratively and frequently. When I say iteratively, that's where Agile comes into picture, and frequently that means DevOps comes into picture. So DevOps is basically an extension of Agile. If a team is very good in Agile, DevOps is just a seamless move from Agile to DevOps. The performance indicators, so that's why I really start with, I always believe in people. If you keep the people happy, everything works well. When I say people, that includes right from my customers, in this case patients, customers, and my leaders, and most importantly, my team. When they keep them happy, everything works well. And also I see that I have a huge board for my teams. They almost have like 5 to 6 teams under me. 5 of them is a Java-based team, one is a SharePoint team. So we have a team temperature. So every week we all gather and then basically say, I'm happy or neutral or I'm sad, right? And always notice that every time we do a release, the entire team is happy. They say, I'm happy because we did the release. And if something goes wrong, they are sad. But that's what it means, if you keep the team happy because of the release, but how can I make the team more happy? How can I do releases more frequently? If I do that, it's going to keep the team as well as happy and the business as well as happy. And always you see this when I have a good release, the emails flow through, right? Great, well done team, then goes all the way up and comes back again. So happiness is the one key metrics I do it, and also the deployment frequency. Deployment frequency, it depends on the cases. Sometimes the GXP, I can't do many releases. Non-GXP, we can do. Again, deployment to test environment, pretty much it's like we have a continuous deployment to test environment. But production, there are a lot of constraints, but we're getting better and better with it. And one more thing is not just deploying, it's make sure you deploy the good quality code. That is the critical part to it as well. So we measure the functional testing, we really want to go into automating the functional testing with BDD, behavior-driven development with Selenium, Cucumber, or APIs. And then we want to automate the load testing and performance testing as well, and security as well. And again, on the code quality, as Gunther mentioned in the morning, we use SonarQube and different code coverage tools as well. Now, when it comes down to the team structure, it comes down to three main points: ownership, accountability, and collaboration. So if you look at this, right, everybody's seen this picture, dev and ops. But as soon as you have this, people think, oh, as a dev and ops separately. But I really want to mention they are together. If you don't have them together, you miss ownership, you miss accountability, you miss collaboration. So I truly believe dev and ops, basically, they are different roles, not roles, but they actually the same team. I'll share some more experience when I come to it. So my first exposure to Agile was in 2006 when I joined a company called Whatif.com. They are the #1 in online booking hotel accommodation, like Expedia. Actually, Expedia has bought them recently. So when I joined, it was pretty much like a startup. We had like a dev team and a SWAT team, basically an operations team with infrastructure engineers and a bit of development as well. But as the team grew, we had more teams, dev team 1, dev team 2, but actually we call them different names. We had called ourselves like Pac-Man, Sonic, and Gauntlet, just for fun. And once we done that, all the teams were structured in such a way that they basically do like more features, basically like more releases, not a kind of product-based kind of team. So as the team grew, and we also started acquiring more companies in Australia as well as in Southeast Asia as well. So he said, how can we make it more better? How can we structure our team in such a way that there's more ownership and alignment to the business? So that is where we broke our teams into 3 parts. One is a supplier facing team, because supply means all the hotels around the world, and the customer facing team, which is basically the people, the website in front of it to book your hotels. And there are like integration teams and stuff as well. But when we did that, one important stuff we did is bring some of the support, the operation stuff back into the development team. That's what Gunther also mentioned this morning. So we have always had like one developer in there, but it depends. If it's an issue, we can get more people as well. But starting with one developer as a support person, that really helped us. That really worked well for us. Then in 2010, I moved to another company called Suncorp. It's also a Brisbane-based company. They are it's a #1 insurance company, but they're also into banking, life insurance, and superannuation. But they are really, it's kind of a big organization, but kind of a startup within that. They're fantastic with Agile and DevOps and stuff. Credit goes to my CEO, then CEO, Jeff Smith. He is the founder of Agile in Australia. I particularly joined this team called Easy Suite. What we did is we basically printed the statements. It could be a banking statement or a insurance invoice, quotes and stuff. It started with that, and then it went on to different channels, going into sending SMSs, emails, PDFs, and more on that. But the important stuff, the team was structured in such a way that we followed ITIL. So we have transition team, basically from one version to another version, and we have an ops team, the supporting stuff, and infrastructure is basically it's outside our team actually. And it's also followed extreme programming as well. Even Whatif we did follow extreme programming, basically doing pair programming. Because pair programming, people say, oh, 2 people working on together, that's half the productivity. Actually, it's not. We don't need code review because we have two eyes looking at it together, the 2 mindsets, different perspectives. We do deliver better code than just one person looking at it. I'm lucky to have another team work with another team following the same process. Basically, the same kind of style what I had in Whatif. So we paired for pretty much everything. So in the transition team, we had like 4 development pairs, and we have only 1 tester because we could pretty much automate everything as much as we can, and we have BA. And the operations team, again, we have only 1 development as a pair. We basically investigate, we do some quick fixes as well. And few more operations people just to be in kind of the more doing configuration and done some first level customer support. And most importantly, we have 1 developer on call. That's what I mentioned in the morning as well. When you have a developer on call, they know that they need to fix the bug, right? So, in fact, when I joined this team, just around that I had my baby. So And then 3 months' time, I went into support. It was a very tough time if things break, but I had a great team to support me. If something breaks a couple of nights together, we basically put the features back, and we come back and do the code fix and get that into production. So in that team, we had the department had many services. Ours is one of only basically the printing stuff, basically all the communications thing. But we also had the whole service offering. We had capturing documents, OCR and stuff, and storage as well. So there are different software as a service teams within the whole department, and they have their own development and operations team under them. And then we said, okay, how can we make it better? How can we reorganize the entire department to a new way of working? Then we thought, okay, how about we bring all the operations together as one, and then the dev and all the development teams separately. Not the right thing, but we just want to try. So we brought a lean coach into our team who coached us. We did the value stream mapping, SciPoc, all these things. And it's okay, what are the best ways we can minimize waste and bring them together? We did that. We tried it for 6 months, and then we just thought all right, this is not really going to work well because, as I said, Jeff Smith is our CEO. So he introduced Agile to Suncorp in 2007. So in 2014, we said, how can we make it more better? Instead of having a dev and ops separately, how can we give the teams to have more accountability, more ownership, end to end? So we thought, okay, let's bring all the skill set that we need for supporting a service together. That could be instead of having a DBA team separately, we have a DBA for the entire department. It was a separate service. We brought them together. So Jeff brought this great idea, and we called it Agile TNG, basically the next generation. So almost 7 years we've been following Agile in Suncorp. So in that model, again, Jeff had these 3 principles, I would say, or precepts. He basically simplified the Agile manifesto. He said that you need to have more clarity than over certainty, and it can be course correction over perfection, and self-directed teams over command and control. He really believed that you don't be really agile, just have a little bit of stuff, just do it, and then learn from it and build on top of it. And empower the team to fail safe and fail fast, and learn from it and come back again. And the team structure basically is driven through that. So I led that for my department. I led the project or the program to adopt the new way of working. So I worked with my leaders, my other managers in the team, and I said, okay, what is the best way we can bring this team, the whole department, under the different model of Agile TNG. So we just came up with a model where we have, because it's a shared service, right? So what we did was, based on the amount of work we come from different units, like basically banking, insurance, life insurance, we split them into 3 teams, and we had dev and ops in those teams, because ops is mostly around configuration. Most of the stuff, usually the platform team takes care of it, and they in turn work with the infrastructure team to build the VMs and automate the stuff. But most of the other configurations are done by the front-facing team. Again, we really plan the reactive and planned work. So we'll allocate X percentage. It depends on the portfolio team. You can do 10%, 20% start with and see how it goes, then you can get more. In that way, we have a superhero in our team who basically rotates every day or every week, or every sprint. It depends on the team's style. We had that, and that was a great success. And when we did that, if you look at that model is very similar to what I had in WhatIF. So we had a same kind of transition in one company to another company in the same model, and really works well for us. So dev and ops together as one team worked well for us. Then I went to another domain called business intelligence, because when I moved to India, I worked for one of our offshore development centers in India for a year. So that was in the BI domain. And again, we had a similar model, but it's much compared to other departments in Suncorp, they were more not matured in the Agile space. So we had to bring in that cultural change. As Agile lead, I did that, and we had a great success in there as well. And then again, Gunther mentioned this morning about Spotify. In the TNG model, we looked at Spotify as well, took the best lessons. Spotify has its guild, chapters, squads, and tribe. And Spotify also has where they have a chapter as the manager or leader. But that does not work well for us. We really want to ensure the squad has their own manager or leader, not somebody outside. But otherwise, they report to two people, can be like a squad leader and then one leader. Doesn't work. In a very matured organization, engineers will say, "Yep, I don't care what the project manager says. I'll do the right thing. I'll basically automate everything." But if you look at different organizations, especially in India where they're not much mature in Agile, they just listen to the project manager, really focus on the delivery, and they tend to drop the ball. And so we said, okay, we're going to do only this. Leader for a squad will be the line manager also. That's important to learn. We tweak basically the Spotify's model. And Spotify also, though have different dev squads, they have an operations squad. If you look at actually, they enable the feature team, the ops squads, the dev squads to enable more releases often. If you look at that, that's also basically a platform as a service squad. So where I see this, the team's going to go in the future, and some teams already doing that in my current department, in the old company as well, is having teams more in the portfolio teams. If you look at most of the health industry, we have research and development, and we have operations, basically supply and logistics, and we have commercials. They have their own IT team. But if you look at a shared service model, because I always tend to happen, I work on a shared service team. So there makes more sense to have those are shared service. You have teams for each and every business, portfolio teams. And I always believe you need to have at least 2 engineers. I don't have dev and ops, they're all together, not like no BAs here. I'll come back to that later. But at least have 2 people in a team, not less than that. Because if you have only 1 person, it fails because you're creating silo. There's no knowledge transfer between the team. It doesn't work. And also, Mike mentioned this morning about if you want to have a rapid development team where you want to prove a technology, proof of concept, then that 2 engineers is enough. I had a good example, like we have a CTO team in AstraZeneca. So these guys, there are a couple of engineers in the team. What they did was they created a new website to capture technology. Basically, every technology goes to a life cycle of its own. Basically, you try a new technology. Okay, this is a good one to invest. For example, taking like Kubernetes. Or this is something new. Let's go and explore for a while. Or this really works well. Let's adapt it. Or it's too not to do. Get it away. Or Oracle version 11. Don't even use it. Retire it. That kind of technology you capture instead of capturing in Excel. They did it in a nice portal. So for that development, 2 engineers, they worked for I think almost 2 weeks, and they knocked out the site really, really well. And they did like almost 50 commits in a day, and that went to deployment. There is no real users, but it basically every commit goes to their own production site, and it worked well. So if you have really 2 engineers who knows the entire how the engineering works, they automate and stuff, they can all by themselves. And again, you will maximum have only 8 engineers in a team, because that's what Agile says, the pizza-sized team. 8 slices in a pizza, so 8 people more, not more than that. And if they have it, you can have a platform as a service team just under that. So that if that team is there, they should enable these teams to the development or DevOps teams to basically release new code. And if they don't have it, it's perfectly fine. You can deploy in Heroku or AWS, any other or Google Engine, right? Again, the next step, if that team always depends on the infrastructure as a service. Again, if that team is not there, it's also perfectly fine. You can use AWS or Azure. So more importantly, I just said only engineers. I don't have any other roles in my team. So like the engineers who can really write good code, they can automate, they can do all the main code, which is the most important. They can do the development, and they can automate the testing, and they can automate the deployment also. And they are doing the support. So we follow TDD, test-driven development, that basically defines the most design principle. And we have, if you're pairing together, doesn't need code review, basically becomes part of it. And we also do ATDD earlier. Now we have BDD, Cucumber, and Selenium. You basically write the behavior of the application before you do start development. So again, once you automate so much stuff, and you can automate load testing, security testing, functional testing, all this all done, I don't see a need for a tester or even a BA, because you have a product owner here who's going to define all the requirements for it. So the BA is basically not necessary, or a test is not necessary. We really need like good engineers who can do everything together. So that's a great mindset change. But nowadays, the kids who come from university, they do a lot of coding and they have the mindset. We can groom them and we can have to show them as leaders what's the benefit of doing like that. When you have that, I really don't see a need for a leader also or a manager, because the team has to be self-driven, self-motivated, needs to be prioritize stuff. So, or at the max, you can have a very feather-light management team. You can do like multiple squads together instead of like one squad. You can do multiple squads. And also important stuff, as I said, right? You have only at least have 2 engineers for a small team. When you have an 8-engineer team, you should apply this principle. If you take one person, if the one person leaves the company for some reason, or if you take him out for the team, can the team survive? Because I hear this term called KT. Has anybody heard KT? Very great. It's called knowledge transfer. It is quite say, popular in India. Especially of this service companies and different things like, oh, I'll do a KT. I don't see a need for a KT, because if your team's working together, they are talking to each other, there's no need for a KT. So if the person leaves, right, it's fine. I can still have another person to work with it. And also, mostly if you see stand-ups, right, we have like, I say, oh, this is what I did yesterday, this is what I'm going to do today. I don't see any blockers. I went to a recent talk. I heard with this nice way to measure the team's agile maturity. What if, can I say what the other person, my peer doing it, can I say this person did this yesterday, he's going to do this today, and he has any blockers? That means they're really talking to each other. They're sitting together, talking to each other. I know what the other person is doing. That comes to the maturity. If that happens, there is no need for, there is no worry when someone leaves the company. I guess the N-1 is the formula, but if I take 2 people out of the team still survive? Can it still work well? There's no KT. That's another maturity. Talks more about collaboration and working together. And I also want to point to another person called Nigel Dalton. So he is also from Australia. He is one of the forefathers of Agile in Australia. So what he did is, he works for a company called, he was a CIO for Real Estate Australia. That basically is a site where people sell the properties or go for renting. He had a great transformation program in his company. What he did was, in 2012, he had 450 IT staff. And he moved 430 almost to business. Basically, he cut down his team size from 450 to 20. What he did was, he got all the IT staff to work with the business. They've been managed by business. In that way, they've been really aligned to the business. They're not anymore IT employees. They're really, the product employee or a marketing team. That gave them more connect to the business. They are aligned together. They still have they do have a community of practice or guilds where they come and share and learn best practices. They would have standards, but they talk more business than IT. So that is it's very transformational. It's very hard in most of the companies, but something you can worth trying it here. Again, depends on the team's maturity. But it's a great thing, and he found a lot of success in that model also. So after all these experiences, right, I will say, okay, is this possible in Agile in the health industry? Who believes that it's still possible in the health industry? 1, 2, 3, 25%? I think so. I truly believe it is possible. Agile is definitely possible, because at Suncorp, we used to follow Agile for everything, not just IT. We follow Agile for finance, legal, procurement, real estate. Everything is bought in Agile way. It just takes time. It takes 5 years, 6 years, 7 years. Health industry definitely possible. But you just have to be conscious of GXP, non-GXP applications or projects. Non-GXP, very much feasible. GXP, we can digitize a lot of the process. We do have some applications running on the clinical trial space. So what we have done is, we use a tool called Jira to capture the test case and stuff. We used to work with a quality manager. And what we did is, instead of doing a vetting signature, how can we use Jira, validate the Jira tools where you can make sure nothing can be changed. You can always audit what things are going. In that way, we simplify the process. So in that model, we brought down the whole quality management cycle, not the testing one, the quality management circle from weeks to days. Again, I'm also working with my change management team. So right now, most of the teams do 3 months, a release every 3 months, but we have done releases every, once we did last one like almost 2 releases in a week. But what we really want to go down is have a scheduled maintenance window. He is happy to say, yep, if you can have him like every day, I'm happy to support you. It's just building that trust with the change management team. Yeah, if I can do like, I want to start basically with every scheduled release of every 2 weeks. I want to bring down to 1 week, then probably every day or twice a day. It is possible. It's all about working with the team and building the trust. And again, the 3 factors for this kind of team structure and what is succeed is the engineers, the people are more important. If they have a great mindset to learn new things and play all the roles, not different roles, all the roles, that will make sure that they can adapt to new changes and deliver. You should not see like development is separate, operations separate. This is the same. I see both are important to any organization and not like they're less or more. And always aim for continuous deployments. Again, it might work for some teams. It might work for a non-GXP application. It may not be a GXP, but it's fine. You can at least deploy to test for now, and then slowly get down to production. And as leaders, we need to ensure we empower the team and enable the team. If they feel like blockers in getting the service from our past team, just go to Heroku and deploy, or AWS and deploy. That is where I see a lot of stuff is important for the team to work with, and also believe in visualizing the goals. So if you heard this term called BVC, Big Visual Charts, it's really important that when we have a great goal, we can visualize it and print them on a big poster or a standee like this somewhere, put it on the wall. When people go back and forth, they look at it and see, okay, how do I get this? And it goes into the mind. So we have a big vision for my department. So we said we're going to create like 30 microservices and be part of all the top 20 programs in AZ, and also work with continuous deployment. And we're slowly getting there. We already made like 5-6 microservices in the last 6-8 months, and we're going to get better with that. Any questions? I have, I think, 2 or 1 minute. 2 minutes.